See, let's go to domain six. So culture, candor, and accountability. Um, this is one of those areas I kind of like call my hippie vibe area because again, these are things like again, you don't really see it. You can't really put your finger on it necessarily all the time. But it kind of going back to that notion of the CEO board chair thing, you don't know it, but you feel it. You know when it's not working. You can just sense it. You know, like you can tell it. This is how governance just sort of feels in practice. Are we candid? Is what's the culture like? What's the accountability like? Just how you know, does the board hang out together? Are we collegial? Is there open dialogue? Are we willing to argue in a board meeting successfully? Like, are we willing to just have these candid conversations with each other? All these kind of things are like, again, you don't really see them in a book like about governance normally. I don't really, I've never, when I thought about the CAE domains and you think about like governance and what does that look like, this was not something I really remember seeing much of, but I think it's important to how governance operates effectively. Um, so when you know it's not working, well, it's when boards have an avoidance of hard conversations. And this hurts organizations. If you as a board aren't willing to sit down together as an organization and be willing to have some tough conversations, you know, guys, we've got to cut 10% out of the budget. We got to do it. It might mean cutting out a staff person. We've got to cut out whatever. We've got to we got to let our staff, we got to let our CEO go. Like it's got to happen. Or whatever. Like we've got to cut a program. Whatever. And again, I'm having bad conversations, but whatever it is, but again, it's just that avoidance of just not having those difficult conversations, just willing to, I don't know if you've had the chance to read the book Radical Candor or not, but it's just having that ability as a group of people to be able to sit in a room and just have those. What about if somebody was accused of, something, some sort of sexual misconduct, and being able to sit in a room with each other and just have those hard conversations about something that's really difficult and be able to walk out of the room together still on the same page with each other. So again, not necessarily something you would see in a book or, well, I mean, I guess you could see in a book with that book. I just mentioned it. But again, so there you go. So, this whole notion of just decisions that keep getting revisited repeatedly, you can't let things go. As an organization, you can't just as a group and a body just can't come to a decision together and just be okay with it. And you see that with organizations sometimes they just can't move past things. They hold on to things, they won't move past it. um, and it's tough when you see it in an organization and you watch them and you watch them just getting stuck, and they want to keep going back to stuff and back to stuff and they just can't seem to get past this. um, and so that's tough. And then you get this, and everybody's seen it, this whole notion of just sort of this passive aggressive governance where they sort of do stuff on the side, they're not very open, not very transparent, they do stuff in the back room, the back conversations, kind of behind people's backs. And again, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make for good governance. It ends up hurting the organization in the long run. And so, as an organization, if we can't build that positive culture where people can be candid and hold each other accountable and move forward, it can really end up damaging the organization in a way that other things, even good policy can't undo this. You can have the best policy in the world, but this kind of stuff is toxic that will destroy an organization from the inside out, you know?
Jim, I'm with you 100%. I got to say, I think organizational culture is the determiner between success and failure. I know
Yeah.
that might sound pretty severe for me to say it, but I
No, but it's
I
not,
really
Ed. I
I I
agree.
I think that organizational culture just makes a difference. Just makes a difference. So
It
I
really
love that you
does.
have this in domain six.
Well, I've seen so many organizations that, there was one board that oh my gosh, man. And I almost like get teary-eyed happy in a happy way, but that I worked with that they did so many great things. And um I loved it because like I don't know, like they just had fun together. Like they were like a family. Like I'd never seen a board just have so much fun together. I mean, like, they would hang out. I mean, the board meeting would end and they would just hang out together and they would go hang out and go out to eat together at the conferences. I mean, they were friends with each other. I mean, it was so interesting. And but the thing is they did so many good things. And I feel like so much of that had to do with the culture and the feeling that they created. And some of the conversations that they would have in board meetings would be kind of difficult. But they would walk out of those board meetings together because they were okay with that. And they knew that, like, and they would almost even like come sometimes apologize to each other at the meeting and be like, hey, like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, like, and they're like, no, 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 it's good. Like, I'm glad we had that. I'm glad we had that conversation. That was helpful. And it's just like, wow, like, this is like a real family. Like, it's what people do. Like, it's good. It's good.
So,
So,
Jim,
anyway,
let me just for fun, let me put you on the spot here.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I won't tell you what
So,
association it was. No, I'm sorry.
no, 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 I don't care about that. So, who's responsible for culture?
Oh boy. Mm. Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I know that the general answer is everybody. I mean, I know that. However, I just take it up a notch or two higher and go, is it the board
Yeah.
that creates the culture? Is it the body of the organization that creates culture? Is it the CEO that creates culture? Is it the staff? I mean,
Oh,
wh- somewhere
yeah.
culture must emanate, and and and
Right.
and
Right.
where is the core
Where
of
does
the
it come in?
emanating
Yeah.
positive?
No, I mean, I think that's a great question. And, kind of to tap into your membership kind of component a little bit, I think some of it comes into that. I think it starts in the grassroots of the membership and how you create that membership and belonging feel at the grassroots and create that feeling of encouragement and belonging, inclusivity and participation and all of that. Because then I think that itself sort of then feeds up into into the community and into the activation and into the committee, into the board, I mean, so it's not like, again, it is everybody. I mean, so I mean, you know what I mean? But I think to your point, to going back to the membership thing, I think it has to start at that level. I mean, I almost think it has to start at the grassroots level within the culture of the organization and the membership piece to build up into that. Because I don't think you can just start up at the board level and say, well, let's institute this culture of this positive culture at the board level, because if you don't have it at the committee level and if you don't have it in your membership already, then what's going to happen when that person who comes into the board who's not bought in already, because you've got those cycles of terms, what if that person that comes in now, all of a sudden, that cycle, those people that were on that, who bought into that culture, now they're off, unless you have a very prescriptive nominating committee that's very good about identifying those people, unless you've got that sustainability piece in place that's very good about identifying the type of people that you want on the board. But then you got to make sure you got those right people on the committees, that you're training them. I mean, so I think you're better off starting down at the bottom and making sure that you have a culture in general in the organization first to then build your way up. But that takes time, though. I mean, you can't just do that overnight. I mean, so that's a long answer to your question, but
So I guess we'll just have to suggest there's a director of culture in every organization.
right on, right on. I mean, I think well, but not even that, Ed. I think culture should just be a part of your member. You know what I mean? I mean, going back to that membership concept. I mean, I think belonging and activation and community. I mean, those components should be just a part of who you are as a membership organization. I mean, those are the pieces that's what makes people feel in order to be willing to be candid and open yourself up, you have to feel like you belong and that you're part of your community and that you're accepted. And to
Yeah.
do that means you have to be a part of an organization that preaches that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's everybody's job in the organization to be that. It's not just one director of culture. It's your director of membership, it's your director of education, it's your CEO, it's your receptionist, it's your, it's like so anyway, we're getting very philosophical here.
That's okay. It's fun.
That's what we're here for, right?
So,
That's what we're here
so,
for.
so we'll,
All
we'll
right,
create a
last
new, we'll create a new line. Culture is everybody's business.
everybody's business. That's right. That's right.
Very good.
All right, we're on our